Here's the trolling motor unit I'm working on for the Topwater PDL. You can sit and fish hands-free, use it to stand and pitch, work the bank, or simply cover water. It has foot steering when seated, as well as a foot-operated on and off switch and a remote variable speed controller, which all helps to keep your hands free when fishing. If you want to stand and fish, there's a detachable handle control that can be inserted into the top of the trolling motor shaft, and the variable speed controller can be plugged into that. Here's how I constructed it. For the plate that fits the drive opening, I made a cardboard template which I used to then trace the shape onto a piece of plywood. I attached a piece of weather stripping to help seal to the hull and added a plexiglass deflector to help with the water flow around the rear of the drive opening. You could also buy a really nice pre-made insert plate made from HDPE. I'll add a link in the video description to where you can order it. The trolling motor is a Minn Kota C30 Endura. I removed the head, shortened the shaft, and fastened a few blocks of wood to the insert plate, which I then drilled through with a hole slightly larger than the trolling motor shaft. The foot steering bar was made by first drilling a hole in the board and then cutting the board in two pieces and screwing them together, which makes a pressure fit around the motor shaft. The steering bar sometimes slips on the shaft, so I may try adding some double stick tape, thin rubber, or possibly a short set screw to help hold it in place better. The collar that came with the trolling motor was secured to the blocks of wood on the insert plate and allows me to lock the motor in a fixed position. I mounted a Bigfoot trolling motor control to the foot steering bar. Power can be turned on by pressing the foot button with your toe, or sliding the lever down with your foot for power, or pushing it up to turn the motor off. This is nice as when seated you can pretty much run hands-free by steering with your feet and turning the motor on and off as needed. I plugged the trolling motor into a battery box that I made, which has a 50 amp hour sealed lead acid battery. Inside the battery box is a resettable fuse and a PWM, pulse width modulator. The PWM allows for greater battery life and variable speed of the trolling motor. I lengthened the wiring for the controls to the PWM and put them inside of a PVC junction box. The control has a forward, off, and reverse mode, as well as variable speed control. There are YouTube videos on how to wire up a PWM, and I'll put links in the description down below on the PWM that I used. So here's an overview of the detachable standing control. It's a pretty simple unit. It's made out of PVC pipe and elbows. You can easily change the orientation for right-handed versus left-handed, and it breaks down quickly when you want to sit down and fish. Here's an overall view of the unit. Now I'm not quite finished with it yet, but once I am, I'll clean up the wiring, and I'm also going to move the pin for the hand control higher and make the notch in the hand control shaft deeper. Also, it's important to make sure the top of this white PVC fitting is waterproof, so water doesn't dump down the shaft into the motor. This trolling motor setup works great for covering water, but you'll only see a top speed of about 3 3/4 miles per hour due to the hull design of the Topwater. I get 5+ miles per hour on other kayaks with this same trolling motor. For fishing, this setup works best in calm to low wind conditions, especially if you want to stand and fish. In heavier winds, it's nice to help you cover water, but I feel the pedal drive is actually easier to fish with. Well, I hope you like this video and find it helpful if you decide to install a trolling motor on your Topwater PDL. Please feel free to leave comments down below and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great time on the water.